All right. Happy Friday, everybody. You are here to get a little bit of an update on the Pro Tour update and the structure for the 25-26 season. I know there's been a lot of buzz around the press release that came out yesterday. So here to talk and go into all the details and answer the questions you might have. We've got three geniuses who've been working long and hard over the last couple months on kind of restructuring this. We've got in my top left, hopefully yours as well, we've got Athena Delgado. Right below that is Michael Gonzalez. And just below me is Kat Kennedy Helper. So I am going to send it over to those three to give you all the nuts and bolts. And if you want to drop some comments or questions into the chat, we'll be monitoring those and answering those towards the end of the session. Thanks, everyone.
Perfect. Thank you, Todd. All right, so like you said, this is going to be our Pro Tour update for the 25-26 season. In our entertaining fashion, we always start everything with a quote. So change is inevitable, growth is optional. That's by John C. Maxwell. Today we are going to go through let's go to the next slide. Perfect. So today we're going to run through the new Pro Tour structure for the season that was already announced. The update includes larger prize payouts and pro qualification pathways and return of open standings. So we'll go through a message from our team. Big changes: the ACL Pro Top 100, ACL Pro, of course, the women, junior, and senior pro divisions, Cornhole pathways, as well as a quick tidbit of what's coming for the season after, and a Q&A. So the message from our team. So one of the big things that we've heard a lot on social media is a lot about, the why, the information, the changes, and everything like that. When we first announced the plan to reduce the ACL Pro roster to 100 players for the 26th season, it really came from a place of ambition, really to raise the standard of excellence and to really spotlight our most elite talent that is in our sport. But as the season unfolded, we did what we value most as a team, and we listened. We listened to the directors, partners, and to the heartbeat of our community, which is our players. And the message was very clear that this league was built on far more than just 100 names on a roster. It is built on every local club that runs weekly events, the players grinding on weekends, with dreams of taking their passion to the next level, built on volunteers, directors, families, and fans who really know what the sport is. So we decided to take a step back, not abandon the goal of excellence, but to build something even better. So as a team, our mission this season was to design a system that's just clear, fair, sustainable, that honors the elite, but doesn't leave the rest behind. One that offers a real pathway for players at every level and learn from our past to build a much stronger future, which is why we've evolved the plan. So what you will see in this presentation ahead is that rather than reducing the field, we are introducing a tiered pro system, one that still elevates top performers, but it also opens the doors for development, growth, and opportunity. So this is more than a change in structure. It is a recommitment to the values that got all of us here. So competition, community, and of course the belief that anyone can play, anyone can win.
She literally has to be like the best person ever for opening statements. Let's just be real. All right, guys. Thanks so much for hopping in or watching this later. When you watch it's recorded. We really appreciate everyone's excitement around this, and it's so exciting to see all of the positive feedback around this. And now we're going to give you like the full nitty gritty. So big changes for this season. Signature payouts. Let's talk money, right? $50K to $100K per event. We're going to 6 events across the season, but we're going to start in January. So we're going to run January through July, That first event is going to be in Myrtle Beach. So they're going to be a lot more spread out for everybody. No one's going to get the month of May ever again. I don't ever want the month of May ever again for our pros or me in this team. 4 of those 6 are going to count just like they did this year. However, open points are not going to count towards your pros. So they're only going to go to open standings. So no more requirements for pros on opens. However, we hope you still attend because they're going to be fantastic. Open standings are coming back better than ever. Pros will have amateurs, and opens will have pros and amateurs playing together at those events. We'll go through a little bit more on those details later on. Unfortunately for me, because I love it, but all of you hate it, apparently, shootout round limited format is gone. That will be an excitement for some of you, or some of you like me enjoy it. And then qualifying and brackets will be on the same weekend for our players that have to qualify into brackets. So those qualifiers are going to be on Friday mornings instead of attending opens earlier in the season. To be able to get into a signature event, they are going to be on that same weekend. So one travel. Big changes. All right. So now, of course, Tanner Halbert would comment. All right, now we're going to start running through each one of these categories a little bit separately to make sure that everyone understands which group you fall into and how you qualify for those groups. So top 100 is going to pretty much follow what we did, had already set for this season. But next year, we're going to go to that $1,000 membership. Now, that membership is going to include registration and registration fees into signatures, singles, and doubles. So you're paying everything up front, no individual payments for signatures like a lot of you asked for. Auto qualifying. If you are in the top 100, you will be seated 1 through 100 for singles and then 1 through 50 for doubles, guaranteed throughout the entire season. And then also Cornhole for a Cause. If Cornhole for a Cause and or Superhole continues into our next season, these top 100 players will be the players that are picked for that. Also, we want to include some social media training for our top 100. There is a lot of you that do a great with your socials. And there are some of you that are trying really hard and just need a little bit of an edge, or some of you that don't even know where to begin. And we want to help you with that. We want to help you drive your social and help really gain that traction that you want. We want you to have fans just as much as we want members. Okay. Michael, I'm going to turn it over to Michael. He is going to walk through the qualifications for the top 100.
Yep. Perfect. Thank you. Just before I do that, there's going to be a lot of info on how you qualify and how you earn spots for each of these things. We will have the pro guide coming out like we always do around Worlds. So all of these things will be detailed in there as well. When it comes to top 100, not a lot's changing there. Actually, nothing's really changing there. The way we promised you make top 100 is still the way you do it. We're first going to go through these steps 1 through 9. Number 1, we'll just take the top 20 doubles teams right off the top. Okay. Top 20 doubles teams will all make top 100. Then we have the 4 challenger brackets at Worlds. That's en route to get into the top 100, win your challenger bracket, and you're also part of that group. Then we'll move over to the singles side. We'll roll through the top 32 singles teams, singles players in the standings, and we'll go through challenger brackets as well. There'll be 8 challengers brackets at Worlds, and the 8 winners will also earn their spot in that top 100. Now, we have a blurb in here that says, if at that point we have less than 80, which we expect we will have less than 80 because there's crossover, we will go back to the singles pro standings and we'll fill down to 80 at that point. Then we'll move into the state qualifier, which takes the top players from every state and allows them to play in a pro qualifier at Worlds. And that pro qualifier will enter 6 more players into the top 100. Then we'll move to the gauntlet qualifier, which we run every season. And we will take 16 players out of the gauntlet who will also earn their spot in that top 100. Now, if we get to that point, we're still sitting at 92 or 91 players, we will then go back to pro singles and we'll fill down to 100. Also, which has been stated all year, number 9 there, 4 players will be the max for the U18 players in the top 100. So as you can see, if you're looking at spots, options 1 through 9, we're going to start with number 1, and however many of the U18 pull in that way will be the first ones in, and we'll work our way down till we get 4 of them in the top 100.
Beautiful. Thank you, sir. I know that some of you may have questions. We are going to answer all of them at the end, so feel free to throw them in the chat now so you don't forget them, and Athena will pick through them at the end. Okay, let's talk ACL Pro. You're not top 100. You're not a woman. You're not a junior. You're not a senior. We've got a place for you. Your membership this year is going to be $400. Okay. But you're going to pay for each of your qualifiers. So you attend all 6, you end up at the $1,000 mark as well. If you don't, then you are just paying for what you're attending. So you're not paying out front for everything that you might not be able to go to. You're just paying for each one that you would be able to attend. You will play a singles qualifier that Friday, what we talked about earlier. And so you will be able to play doubles with anyone else that also makes it through their qualifier. You can play with a woman, senior, junior, or other ACL Pro. You just may not play with anyone in the 100. Okay. If you do not make pro brackets, you can then turn around and register for the open. That's going to happen that weekend as well. Open singles and open doubles. Joe Michael's going to walk through the qualifications for this as they're definitely new.
Yep. So all these are new. After we have the top 100 all squared away and sorted out, we will surely be alerting everybody right away. As soon as we have that info, they will be alerted. The next step is we're going to go back to pro doubles, and we're going to take the next 25 pro doubles teams. This would be 50 players. Okay. These 50 players would then be offered a pro spot. Next step there, we'll jump over to pro singles. We will run down the list the next 25 pro singles, and we will offer all 25 of those people a spot in the pro division. Okay, the next new one that we're introducing, step number 3, is then we're going to look at all 50 states. We're going to jump to the state standings in all 50 states after all of these players previously spoken for have been pulled out. We'll pull out all those players, and we will go the top 3 players in all state standings all across the board will be offered a pro position. What this does is this, as Athena will talk about I think later, is the pro pathways. This allows you to be a pro at home and not require you to have to go to signatures and chase the travel money as well, but gives you an opportunity to represent your state at home. And if you want to chase and travel, you have the right to do that. The next step will, since we are introducing CPI and we plan to use CPI very heavily next season for directors, for state events, regional events across the board, we're going to look to the top 2 ranked CPI players in every state, and we will offer them a spot as well.
Beautiful. All right. We are going to talk about our ACL Pro women, seniors, and juniors, or as Athena likes to call them, Wackle, Sackle, and Jackal. I think occasionally we just like to have some fun. You got to lighten it up sometimes. So your membership fee is the same as the regular ACL Pro membership, as well as the $100 for the singles qualifier. You will play in your qualifiers that Friday morning. Our current number that we're looking at is probably about 25 from these groups will be taken. That number will be determined, though, at the end. Once all contracts and all of everything has been accepted, it will be ratio based across the board. So make sure that everything is fair for all of the groups, as some groups will have more than others. Also, same thing for you for doubles. You may play with anyone else outside that is not in the 100 that makes it through your qualifiers on those Friday mornings. You can also play in the open events. Same thing is pretty across the board for this group and the ACL Pro group. The 100 is the only one that's really has different restrictions and or things that are offered to them. And then our goal, it wasn't on the other slide, but our goal is to have all pro registrations open no later than December 31st. Now, clearly the first one being Myrtle Beach will be open before that, but we want, one of the things that we heard from y'all this year is that you wanted to be able to pay for everything up front at one time instead of paying individually. So if you are someone that knows you're going to attend all 6 events, you want to pay for your membership and all your qualifiers outright, you can do that at the very beginning of the season. Michael, you want to go through these qualifications? Is there a little different?
Yep. And before I do that, I just wanted to clarify with the pro brackets at the signatures, we are planning to obviously have the top 100. They're seated in there in the top 100 seeds. And our goal is to add an additional 120 players into those 4 brackets at every signature. So we expect a large number of players to get in. Those players will be seated after the top 100. So I don't think that was on one of these slides. All right, so women, seniors, and juniors. As advertised in the Pro Guide this season already, we are starting with that and honoring those numbers. The top 16 ranked doubles teams in those respective standings, they will be offered pro spot next season. We have 2 challengers brackets through doubles. So women's, seniors, and juniors that win their challenger bracket will be offered a spot. We'll then jump over to singles as advertised, and we will run down through the top 32 singles with not sliding up after the doubles. That's the tricky one here that's different. And we're doing that for the World Championship brackets. So the top 32 singles, just straight off the top for those 3 divisions, and the 4 challenger bracket winners. We also have pro qualifiers at Worlds for these divisions, women's, seniors, and juniors, where we will take the top 8 finishers in each and offer them a spot. The next thing we're doing is moving back to the States. Again, giving representation across the country is important to us, and allowing players to have a pathway that doesn't require travel across the country every year. It's still an opportunity. As we will jump to state standings, we will take the first available women, senior, and junior that have an advanced skill level. Okay, so that is an important distinction there. Anyone that has that advanced skill level will be offered a spot through their state standings. All right. I think I'm doing this one too. Yep. Looking ahead. So this slide is kind of a little recap of what we've been talking about and just looking ahead to next season. The big thing for us is open standings. You can see it's all capitals there. It's back. We're excited for open standings. We have some really cool amateur pathways to chase through open standings. Of course, we have PEP and DEP to chase as well, but open standings are back. This will be an area where players can see where they stand across the country, separate from their state standings. If they do travel to opens next season, pros included who play in those opens, you'll find yourself in the pro or in the open standings. We have a really cool challenge for open standings coming as well. Also with open standings, this is going to be an additional pathway to pro. And I don't recall the exact number off the top of my head, Kat. I think it might be 20 that we said were coming out of open standings that will be offered a spot into pro next season. I don't know if we had that on that previous slide. Again, everyone plays together at opens like they did in past seasons. So you'll just sign up for open doubles. Pros can play with amateurs. Pros can mix partners. Amateurs can mix partners. However you wish. That's just simply for open standings, no longer for pro points. Another big thing, which we'll find at the opens next year, is skill levels themselves are going to be going away. So you won't have intermediate, competitive, advanced players. You will have CPI-based divisions. So CPI is a metric that we are really trusting. We've done a ton of research on it. We've used a lot of data the past 3 full seasons on CPI, and we believe that CPI is a very strong metric as to where you belong and who you belong to play against. And so we're going to start releasing that at the opens next season. So you won't find competitive players that play down into intermediate so often, or the sandbagging. So the goal there is if your CPI is a 6, you'll be playing in a range of players that are also near your CPI. Okay. Women's, seniors, and juniors, those will still be at the opens. We will just be running singles events for those, and they will have open standings for women's, seniors, and juniors. Now, pro women, pro senior, pro junior, they can play in those. Those are open divisions, and they will have an open standings cross country. Now, when we move to the signatures, that's where we will run doubles events for these groups: women's doubles, seniors doubles, and juniors doubles at signatures. And then at Worlds, we will offer both, which I know was missing for the open players this season. They're not getting open doubles for women's, junior, seniors. We will be going back to that. And then last note, I'm looking ahead to Worlds next season, 2026 Worlds. We will be running the main World Championship brackets similar to this year, where not everybody gets in. It's still a playoff field championship type bracket. However, they will be larger than they are this season. And we'll work to determine that number in the coming weeks. And we will still use the challenger bracket opportunity as well for players to earn their way into that top 100 next year who missed it throughout this season.
All right. Are y'all ready for this? Dina's turn.
All right, perfect. So cornhole pathway. So this is a graphic that we've been using quite often, a lot of it with our development team, our town hall that we've had, and just a couple of different ways. Todd was able to kind of put this together with Alicia as well. So this is kind of a way where everything ties together. So this is going to show how we're trying to meet all of our diverse player needs. One, with having a pro field access. So along with the pro pathway, there's increased opportunities for aspiring players to become pros through state point rankings, which is what we made sure to add for this coming season. A competitive amateur success. So achieve success through ACL Amateur Open Challenge and pathways to become a state pro with a dedicated effort. So we do have an open standings challenge that is going to come out. We're very, very excited for it. Once we start kind of rolling out some of, everything that's going out there, we'll get that to all of you. A majority of this will be discussed at Worlds. We are going to have some informational sessions, I believe almost every day at Worlds. So make sure that you keep an eye out for those as well. So you can also ask your questions in person. Take a look at some of the things that are coming. We do plan to have a majority of this pretty much laid out and ready to go for all of you. Recognition for everyone. So our player engagement program went incredibly well. We just ran a quick video call with everyone yesterday to let them know how great it was. It was phenomenal. That is returning, as well as our director engagement program as well. State directors also to create their higher level state incentive programs with guidance from our national staff. So we are going to work with all of our state directors in providing them tons of ideas and opportunities for them to really incentivize their state level for all of their players. And then, of course, club director rewards. So club directors who increase memberships will receive rewards through commissions, some really exciting sales programs that are coming up to promote local growth and engagement. So everything from pretty much top to bottom and everything in between. We definitely made sure that we try to hit every single target, every single pathway, and every level of player in order to, make sure that we're, covering all bases and just keeping it fun for everyone and just bringing it back to reminding everyone, why we all started in the first place. Now, next up, we have our Q&A. So we do have a lot of really, really, really good questions. I'm going to pop a couple of the questions. If for some reason I miss any of them, just pop it back in the chat. Question number 1 looked really important. So when I play David Matt, can we activate round kitties for those games?
I think he meant round limited, but
And I'm in. As
we
long
may
as
do that for you.
any time that you have to play them, we change the entire tournament to round limited, I am in.
Done. Just kidding. All right. Perfect. Scotty Gore, I believe we covered this, but still only 4 juniors in the top 100.
So, yeah. And Michael and I actually walked through that earlier. We are very aware the large amount of kids that are in the top 100 that should be in the top 100, but based on the way that it pulls, it is currently showing that we have the first 4, as long as everything stays the same after Richmond, that are in doubles. So then anything after in singles would just go straight for ACLJ. So anyone that should be within a spot or would qualify for a spot is still going to get a spot. It's just those 4 are only going to be in the 100. Everyone else would go to ACLJ. So no one will be left out, but definitely for the 100.
Perfect. Russell Brown asked top 6 from each state, regardless of elite, pro, or junior.
Well, this question was asked early on, so I'm not sure if it was about the championship or the qualifier at Worlds, or where that question was based out of. But when he asked the question, we were talking about the Worlds and the qualifier. So I'm not sure, Russell, if you want to clarify that question at the end, we'll come back.
Perfect. All right. Hunter Thornton, will the Worlds format for this year be a reoccurring thing?
I think we answered that question at the very end of it, Hunter, and please let us know if we didn't. But yes, it will be a reoccurring thing. However, we are going to adjust. They are very small this year. And that was in an effort to get us to the 100 that we had planned to go to, which, I mean, we're still doing, and we do think that elite group deserves that. But next year going forward, the main event and challengers will still work. It just might not mean that everyone within those groups isn't automatically qualified. They just be able to play in the world's brackets, but we'll work through those.
Perfect. Logan, if you're in the top 100, your pro partner has to be as well.
Yes, sir. Your pro partner must be within your division if you are in the 100. Everyone else is able to mix and mingle through their groups, but the 100 must play with the 100.
That's specifically on an effort to allow the seeding to happen. So that group is guaranteed the top 50 spots in doubles. One other thing I don't think I mentioned when it comes to seeding, maybe I did, but when we take players out of the qualifiers into the signature brackets, we are going to allow 32 spots to be empty. This will allow 8 players in every bracket to have a bye. So the top 8 players in singles, all 4 brackets, the top 8 in each will have a bye guaranteed. And then when it goes to doubles, the top 4 teams in each doubles bracket will have a bye. So I think I missed that, but that's part of the effort, Logan, in keeping that top 100 seeded appropriately.
Yep, great question, Logan. Let's see. I believe we might have covered this, but Bo Graph, is it top 3 elite pro from each state that qualify, or top 3 regardless of membership?
That one's going to be top 3 regardless, going into 25-26. That's what we have.
Correct. Yeah. Now, the only caveat to that is they do have to be an advanced player in order to be pulled up. Let's see. Rich Shameless, for the U18, are you pulling the first 4 that are tied to pro doubles rankings too?
Yeah. So I think, Rich, if you look at the standings right now, Sammy Soto's going to age out. He turns 18 before January next year. So as of today, we have a clean 4. If we come across a tie, we will discuss that and figure out what's best for everybody.
Yeah, great question. Let's see, I don't know if this one is going to fit.
So
it does.
Running in. I'm going to pull that one up because it definitely doesn't fit. Maybe it does.
Perfect. It might. Let's see. So can we come up with a different name for either the top 100 pros or the ACL pros? I feel like it gets a little confusing since there's ACL pros now, more PDC pros from the past.
They are essentially the 100. However, in the standings, you're probably not going to see the difference currently. The way that it's based is it is all set to be ACL pro next to it. The 100 is going to know who the 100 is. They're all very aware of each other. Most of y'all have played together for years too. So I think that's more of, as long as the 100 is distinct, then I think you're going to be good across the board.
Correct. Okay, let's see. Wesley Martin, great question. I believe we went through this, but isn't there a top 5 state qualifier for pros elites? that didn't make the top 100 at Worlds, or is it only #1 state player that plays in the qualifier at Worlds?
That one is top 5, and those players for that particular qualifier, as advertised all year, are elite and pro that did not make it.
Correct. Great question, Wesley. Let's see.
And Wesley, that is, just to make sure that you're aware, that is to go into the 100. Those people, if they're top 5, they still maybe, if they don't make it through that 100, would still be offered another spot if they hit one of those other qualifications. So if you want the 100 spot, you need to play in the qualifier.
Perfect. Let's see, here's one more. If in senior division, a senior makes actual ACL Pro, is he then taken off the senior list and the rest move up in positions for pro standings for senior pro?
Michael and I actually talked about this earlier today.
Mhm.
When we're going through, the senior, junior, and women will be pulled first. Those qualifications will be pulled first, and then we will do ACL Pro. The women, junior, and senior divisions are designed for those people. So we want to make sure if you fall into that category, you get put in that group. And then if you don't meet those qualifications, but you do meet the ACL Pro qualifications, you would then fall into that group. So that would be the last pulled group.
Yeah, and just to clarify, top 100, again, still, if you're a woman, junior, senior, you make top 100, you're in top 100. So this is after that.
Correct. All right, the janitor. Will regionals and state tournaments be CPI based for divisions as well? Let Michael take that one.
All right. Yeah, this is a good one. I've been talking about it with directors all season. We are going to, well, first I'll say, the rollout's going to be a little bit clunky because everyone's learning about CPI, right? It's new. It's a new number to everybody. We have all the data on the back end. Now it's our job to provide all that data to players and directors. So to answer your question, though, yes, they will be CPI based. We will offer a lot of flexibility for directors. So maybe, a director here where I'm at in Oregon might have a different CPI scaling than, Matt, where you're at in South Carolina versus Texas. So there'll be a lot of flexibility at the regional level. Directors will have opportunities to make decisions that fit their player base. But yes, we will be going to CPI-based divisions.
All right, Tommy Jones asks, will the additional pros that come from state rankings come from this season's state rankings? Yes.
As all of us just start to nod, yes. Everything will come from this year's current state rankings.
Definitely. Let's see here. All right, Brittany Etheridge. What is the reason behind making people local pros if they don't want to travel or compete outside of local events? Why get a pro title? That is a very good question. Essentially, the whole purpose behind it is, what were some avenues? What are some things that we potentially are losing going straight to just the 100? One of the biggest things is we have so many different skill base in every single state. Every state is different. There is not one single state that is the same. So a player, might be a competitive player in Arizona. That does not mean they're competitive in Florida, and vice versa. So every state has their own very top tier groups. And we don't want to discredit the fact that some of those players at the top are the biggest advocates. They're the ones who are also, playing. They're usually the ones that are traveling. And we're trying to make it not necessarily easy, but we're also trying to be respectful of everyone's time, of their home life, of, funding. And not everyone has the ability to do what the top 100 will have the ability to do. So in this instance, we are providing, again, an additional avenue that also showcases the best in every state, because quite honest, every state has that top tiered group. And it's just another avenue to provide that. Brittany, so that was a really good question. Thank you.
Michael, I don't know about you, but that was probably the best answer I've ever heard in my entire life when it comes to answering that question. It was amazing, Athena. Thank you.
Yeah, that was really good. And one thing, Athena, that we talked about too is we have learned there's a lot of power, in states and players that stay home in states, and to give some of those players the opportunity to gain some of that power, some of that notoriety in themselves. It's important for the sport. It's important for all of us to help the sport grow, and people love their they're local players and they really can get behind them, and we want to foster that growth.
And then when you add the state rankings in it, all we're doing is helping drive attendance to your locals, your regionals, and your state tournaments. We want to make sure that we're supporting, as much as we want to support the players and the people that want to be pros, we also want to support directors across the board. And they need the support of the players, and putting state rankings back in play really helps with that.
Yeah, 100%. Right here, Helmer's asked, when they say top 100, if I'm top 100 in singles at the end of the year, do I qualify, or do my partner and I have to be in both singles and doubles?
So, Helmer, when we talk about the 100, we mean the 100 coming out of our current pro standings. So I'm going to do this really quick just to help. So if you want to look at this really quick, this is what the 100 is. And these were qualifications that were already set in stone from the beginning of the season. Those did not change. It comes from our current pro singles and doubles standings is where the 100 comes from, on top of our qualifiers that we are offering at Worlds, just to make it a little bit easier. So you could see that again instead of walking all the way through it.
Perfect. And I know the next question was also already covered, but since you're on that, if you could go back to that. Perfect. The janitor, how will the top 100 be seated for the first signature next year, doubles and singles?
I think the answer to that is CPI. So running into the first signature, we're going to seed singles and doubles based on CPI.
Yep. Let's see. Alan Lee, can you decline top 100 but take regular pro?
I feel that if you are someone that's offered top 100, but you don't feel that you can commit and that someone else would deserve to take that spot over you, but you would still like to keep your ACL Pro title, that is something that we would be able to offer.
Great question. Let's see. Top 3. Yep, I know we ran through this one, but Kim Gardner, top 3 in state after top 100 pro.
Yes.
Let's see. Ooh.
Just to help everybody, Athena, while you pull that next question, it will go top 100. Then it will go ACL WSJ and then ACL Pro at the bottom. So everyone will be pulled out of this prospective state standings and all of those things and slid up, unless it's otherwise noted within a standing that it's not going to be slid up. So, Michael, this is all you.
Yeah. So Jeremiah asked, just curious, what is the highest a CPI can go to? Is there a cap?
Yeah, I love this question. I was trying to search for some results real quick. I might not get them in time. Maybe I will. Anyways, to answer your question, the highest CPI is a 12. No one has ever achieved a 12. I think currently the highest CPI we have seen, if I'm not mistaken, is Jamie Graham, who reached a 10.93. So that would be the highest we've seen. I know Mark Richards also earlier in the season was right up about that 10.9. And I think Jeremiah Ellis coming out of last season was around that same number. So 12 would be the highest, 1 would be the lowest, and we have not seen a 1 or a 12 yet. So.
All right. Brian Sarchi asks, are you moving the senior division to 50 and over from 55 and over, because 50 is really old? We would like to say 50 is prime and still young. You're lucky we don't put you with the juniors. Still young. Perfect. But to answer that, no, we will remain 55. Logan Chamberlain asks, what is the pro qualifier format for this year?
That's a great question, Logan. We're working through it. It's going to start with rounders for sure. And really, I think we just need to kind of get an idea of who sign up, how many people sign up. I know the way we ran it last year, we anticipated more players and we didn't have enough to run the format we offered, and it got really messy throughout. We had players last year that once they lost 2 games, they just kind of left, and that kind of hurt how we were running it. So we are still talking through what's going to be the best format to allow everyone to have an opportunity.
I think our biggest thing, Logan, is that we want to offer the best player experience across the board. And sometimes that takes knowing how many players you have to determine the correct avenue for that.
Perfect. And then Nick, I know we've covered this a couple times, but I do see similar questions. I'll pop this one back up for a couple that came in a little late. Nick asks, if one player from the top 3 in my state qualifies through a different method, i.e. pro standings, will pro status be offered to the next player below them? Yes.
Everything slides.
Yep. Sliding
Top
it down.
100, women's senior, junior, and then regular ACL Pro.
Yep. That exact order. 3 steps. Great question. Is there going to be an elite division? And if so, what will be the purpose or the advantage of the elite division? The elite division is no longer, so we will not be offering the elite division for the upcoming season. We definitely learned a lot this year between the elite division as well as PDC, and just really took a lot of data information from the last couple of years. What worked, what didn't work, what are some positives, negatives, and what can we do to create the best overall, which is what this upcoming season is going to reflect.
Yeah, and just to touch on the elite, like kind of the main thing we learned is it's really not a good idea for anybody, the ACL or the players, just to allow anyone to buy a membership and play. We need the pro status to be merit-based, and you need to earn that status. And all of these avenues now that we're offering are merit-based, and you have to earn them throughout the season. So we loved the idea of elite when we started it, but as we learned, it's not actually good for the players or for us just to allow you to buy your way in.
Correct. Great answer. All right, and then similar, Brendan, sorry, not that part. I saw you'll be taking the top 3 from each state as pros. So with that being 150 pros, how are the 175 others chosen for the 325 group?
Brendan, I will go back really quickly, but if you don't have a chance, this is going to be recorded and you can go back later and look at it because they're separate groups. So this one right here, the first 75 are going to come from pro doubles and pro singles standings. So we're going to take the next 25 teams in pro doubles and the next 25 people in pro standings and do that across the board first. Then we'll go to state standings, and then also the top 2 in state CPI will also be offered. So that's how we get to the 325. But the first 75 are from pro standings.
Perfect. When are state standings finalized? So those will be finalized at the end of our points. So that is on the 20th of July, but that we are going to give ourselves wiggle room. So I would say about a week or so after, just to make sure there's no discrepancies, make sure that all directors have their events closed, and that everything is where it needs to be. So I would say about a week after. Now, mind you, all players who are going to qualify for their respective groups, or if they have the opportunity to be offered pro, are going to know before Worlds. So we will have that going once everything's set and finalized. We already have email templates ready to go to everyone for each individual respective division and group. Great question. Let's see. Will the top 100 count towards the top 3 in each state?
Nick, it gets pulled out first. So the top 100 will be pulled from your state standings before, and then women, junior, seniors get pulled from your state standings, and then we start hitting the pro standings.
All right, perfect. Here's a good one. Tanner Halbert, can you make more time for us to play golf? We'll let Kat handle that one.
It says Tan Halbert, so I think he wants to get a tan on the golf course.
Tan. Ooh, I think that's tan.
Tan. It works out perfectly.
He gives us a golf question. He gets a tan.
Steve Schrader, great question from the Steve. If CPI is updated in real time, wouldn't it be best to offer spots to those with the highest CPI after the qualifier is done?
So quick answer is no, CPI is not updated in real time. We're updating CPI every Monday. So you'll play a week's worth of cornhole, go through your regionals or whatever happens on the weekends, and your CPI will reflect every Monday, including the previous week.
Perfect. And then we have one more question here. And then we'll also make sure that Todd makes another appearance as well after this last question. All right. So if I understand that in opens, there will not be any senior doubles, just singles. You're muted, Kat.
It was so strong too. So good.
I do that all the time.
We're going to be doing open senior singles, open junior singles, and open women's singles at opens across the board. Our signature opens will offer doubles, and that's because pros and amateurs play together again and have our open standings back in place. So we will not be able to offer singles within the signature schedule or doubles within the open schedule.
Great question. Thank you, guys.
Dang, we must have done good.
Woo, sweating.
Right?
Perfect.
No more?
Nope, I don't see any other questions. So we will hand it over to Todd.
All right, just a few final words. This team's, like I said early on in the session, they've been spending a lot of time working on this, not just behind the scenes, but asking questions, talking to players, pros, elite players, pretty much everybody at opens throughout the season to really get the perspective of the players so that we can make changes for the best for the best of the players, the best of the directors, and the best of the ACL as well. So this is just a piece of the changes that are coming next season and what we feel is the improvement. We've been doing town halls and again talking to a lot of people at events and taking feedback and through various mediums and whatnot. So we're really excited. I'd certainly keep your ears open, tuned in for some more of the additional changes and initiatives that we're going to be promoting next season. I know directors have already gotten a kind of a glimpse into what we're doing. We're going to have a kind of a full marketing campaign, I guess I should say, during Worlds to really promote some of these changes, along with the educational sessions at Worlds that will be streamed to on this YouTube page, so that you can kind of see all those changes as they come about too. So, but we're really excited, and just want everybody to know that we've definitely been having these conversations so that we can hear what the players are saying, hear what the directors are saying, and make the improvements to for the best of the sport. All right, you guys, anything else from the three of you?
I'm just like seeing all these loves in the corner, and it's making me very happy. It's fantastic.
Yeah, wonderful job to all three, Athena, Michael, and Kat, on this call. Again, they've been spending a lot of time on this, and they really do take player first and director first mentality when they approach these new projects and these changes and whatnot. So they deserve a big hand. Thanks, everyone.
Ooh, Michael, there was one quick question. You want to answer this really quick?
Yep.
Sorry. I just think that just because we've pushed CPI so far, I just saw this one come in. Athena, do you see it?
Oh, yep. Scroll. I saw it. This one?
No, I don't
or
think
the other one.
No, not that one.
However, you can put me in, coach.
Here.
Jesse.
That one.
All right. Yeah, great question. We have a ton of things coming for CPI. We're planning to have CPI leaderboards for the country, CPI leaderboards for clubs, CPI leaderboards based on players with certain directors, CPI leaderboards at events. And so, yes, CPI is going to become what we're calling a very dynamic number, meaning that you can move it and play with it and see what everyone else is looking like. CPI based on state, a whole host of CPI visibility for everybody. Thanks.
If that tells you how long we've been working on this thing, there you go. Thanks, guys. You've been amazing.
Perfect.
We answered all the questions.
Yes, thank you guys so much. Goodbye.